Well, that last part, yeah. I wanted to see what that was saying.
Get a little later. I waste my time with last you, man.
Sorry, dude. You reminded me, and I have ADD, and I'll forget.
Put in a note. Put a bookmark in it. Freaking Dodgers won. You know what, Rays? You suck. Glad I moved to Tennessee. Damn Florida. Freaking Rays suck. Man. I gotta hear about Dodgers. About as bad as hearing about the Patriots.
No, it's not.
And Bama.
Actually, I don't have an issue with the Dodgers.
I have an issue big time. Huge issue. I have a huge issue now with the Rays. I want to make a t-shirt that says FU Rays. I want to think, man, that just sucks. They're supposed to beat them. No, they didn't beat them.
Why do you have an issue with the Dodgers?
Because I don't like them. Because they are idiots. They are assholes. And they beat the Braves. Well, Braves kind of beat themselves in one way, but I don't like the Dodgers. It's like I don't like the Rays now. But the most I hate the worst is the Red Sox and Yankees. That's the worst.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I've talked to women. I've seen them where find out they weren't a Red Sox something, especially like a phone cover. Okay, this ain't gonna work.
I thought you were gonna say you're talking to a woman and you find out she wasn't a woman. I'm like, okay.
No, well, that would be a Red Sox fan.
So I literally had someone that was a gay friend that was like, yeah, you know, the straight guys that usually have problems with gay people are usually closet gays. I'm like, interesting. All right.
Didn't we talk about this the other night?
We might have. You just reminded me of that.
I have a problem with gay people.
Go ahead.
So I had no problem with them. I'm just saying I don't like the Red Sox. Or the Dodgers now. Or the Rays.
Yeah, I don't like the Braves, so it's okay.
Hey, that's a team right there. Anyways.
I like some of the past Braves. I haven't paid attention lately.
Well, I love the past Braves too.
All right. Welcome to the Wrestling Still Cool podcast. My name's KN. That's Mark.
Hey, y'all doing? Appreciate you joining in.
So we're going to talk about the week's shows and news and whatnot that broke out that took place all leading up to Hell in a Cell and Bound for Glory. So this is effectively the first week that the actual WWE draft kind of takes place, which I very much voiced my opinion on how much I hate how WWE handled the draft.
Yes.
And then it makes you wonder, for the people that were not included in the main parts of the draft, it's like, okay, you obviously don't matter to them. So I'm sure that made them feel really great.
Yeah. You know, it's the draft is not as there's something that Booker T said this weekend. I already had it was in my mind, but he's the legend and Hall of Famer. You know, he kind of put he's going to call the nail in the coffin by saying it's like it's not as other than obviously the way they put it this year, but in the past number of years, the draft's not as what you would call, I guess, as much of exciting. Yes, it would be is a word. It's not as if you go back years ago, the roster had so much depth. It wasn't even funny. It was more important back then. Obviously you had at the time you had two different companies, and as well. So back then, it was so different. And then even a few years after that, it was still cool. And yeah, obviously 2 GMs as well that are choosing picks. And after that, it was still cool. But the rosters, there's not much depth to it for one. No offense to anybody out there who's maybe a wrestler, anybody just in general. They're all talented, but there's not much depth into it. And then the way they obviously present it, it's like it's cool to watch and all, but I guess for what it is, but it's not as what it used to be of the excitement. It's like even if they do all that, WWE will still bring over different stars from different brands. Oh, this one has some kind of wild card bye week or something, as they call it. This person can show up from SmackDown going Raw. I'm like, but they're 2 separate brands. You can't do that. So, they did that for a while before the draft. I'm like, we're still having a Raw and SmackDown, 2 different type of shows, but you're still going to have them appear on the opposite show. So it's saying Survivor Series where it's welcome, but it's, now it is. But I mean, for a long time, it's my problem with the whole concept. Of course, this year is the way it's presented, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to the draft, it kind of doesn't seem like it's worth it anymore.
Yeah.
And they're not including a lot of people in the draft. And you mentioned Survivor Series, and it's looking like NXT is going to be out of Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, honestly.
I'm right with you.
The only thing I could come up with is the fact that the actual big people, and I mean big and by size, like Keith Lee, they're not really there anymore. I mean, they're trying to make something out of Bronson Reed, and they're trying to make something out of what's his name? Killian Dane. But they're not where they were last year, and I feel like they should take advantage of it and include NXT in the Survivor Series and made it interesting.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I believe I'm not wrong. This is part of more sarcastic, but more also serious. Isn't NXT supposed to have the viewpoint of a third brand?
They keep changing it. At one point, it was developmental. Then it was a third brand. Now it looks like they're treating it like developmental again.
Exactly. That's the word I was kind of getting at. Is like they're being presented and have been spoken up upon by different people, including Triple H, that they are the third brand. They are their own brand as they are their own brand. So if they're their own brand, if they're part of WWE as their own brand, and have their own show and also on a major network, then why aren't you being either respecting them with as a third brand and including them on anything? So that's the problem. Anyway, sorry, I had to bring that up
because, like, right now, you have a United States champion in Bobby Lashley. You have a Intercontinental champion in Sami Zayn, and the NXT equivalent is a North American Championship, and that's being held right now by Damian Priest. I think those 3 could put on a good match against each other.
Honestly, I saw the card today, and there's 2 matches specifically I just don't not appeal to whatsoever, and that's one of those matches, Sammy versus Bobby. What's so appealing about 2 heels that just I don't see the chemistry on that one going well.
We're gonna see Bobby's sisters again.
Bobby's sister, what?
You don't remember that?
Bobby's sisters.
When they had a feud, it was either last year or the year before. Sammy got guys to dress up in dresses and wigs and call him Bobby's sister.
Oh, yeah. I barely can remember call that. I just don't see the point and all.
I don't know.
And you got Orton versus Reigns. I'm like, what's so? I just heels and heels just don't mix, in my opinion. I mean,
I don't like that either. But I mean, if they're gonna try and build it like the way they're building it, I think adding Damian Priest into it would make Lashley and Sami Zayn be a little bit more interesting because it's a new dynamic.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I said it's crazy how they're treating it, and it's like you need that third brain anyways. You ain't doing a whole lot in just 2 brains anyways. I mean, your card don't even look all that appealing right now. But yeah, I just don't understand a lot of it.
And with Reigns and Orton, if you add in the XC champion, which is Finn Balor, that creates a whole new dynamic.
Exactly, it does. Absolutely. I mean,
it would be 3 heels, but it's whatever.
Yeah, it's Orton and Reigns. Yeah, they got good abilities. It would be a good in-ring match, absolutely. But it's just the appeal. I've never been a fan of heel versus heel, and I understand this day and age, there's not what you call a bona fide heel and face as far as with the way the business has evolved. But you still got the characteristics of the heel, so that's why I say it's like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I'm not really a fan, like I said, of the heel versus heel.
One thing I would like to see them do is, I don't care how they do it, but I want them to have Bray Wyatt in a one-on-one match with someone from SmackDown, and that he starts with all the mind games to mess with them.
That'd be fine, but who are you gonna pick? I mean, there's someone who's worthy, or someone who's actually going to be a good pick. I mean, you have Brian.
I can't do that.
And they have history. So, but if you're going to go for somebody new that hasn't been around Bray, who you gonna pick? That's going to be. I mean, you got Big E, but I don't want the Big E to be getting buried.
Yeah, I can't be Big E. Man, who's on SmackDown now? Because I get why you would want Brian. They have a decent amount of history, and they kind of can rehash it for the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want them to pick somebody else. And I can't think of who's on SmackDown right now.
You have Rollins. It could be. I mean, that would be fun to see Rollins getting scared of shit.
Is Aleister Black on Raw or is he on SmackDown?
Who?
Aleister Black.
He's on. I think he's on SmackDown. I think. Yeah.
If he's on SmackDown, let it be Aleister Black.
I'm fine with that too. At least it would be something entertaining. I mean, at least it gets entertaining when Bray does his mind games, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish he would up the game a little bit more too. And before someone says, "How would he do that?" I'm not saying that should be the Undertaker, but do something that does more than just, I guess, show up and do as a Sister Abigail. I guess what I'm saying, just do a little more mind games, kind of evolve that a little bit more. That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you think Retribution is pretty much done for right now?
Well, I mean, they're talked about having a 5-on-5, whatever, against Hurt Business. That's the rumor talk. That's been going on for a little while. But as far as being done with, I'm not being done with, but they messed that up.
Yeah, I mean, with Raw, they just let Bobby Lashley tap him out.
Yeah.
So,
huh?
So it seems like they're kind of moving them to be subpar to the Hurt Business.
Pretty much, and it's just like the Hurt Business has owned them. I mean, more or less after Mustafa became leader, but it's just too many mistakes. And I don't know what their I wasn't in creative meeting, so I don't know what their end game was with that for the big picture. I mean, we can say that there was just something for the ratings for a short period of time, but to me, you're going to go through all that length for that. I mean, they created something pretty powerful at first. I mean, why let it go? If it bombed when it first came out, then fine, let it go. But it didn't bomb, so.
I just don't think they have any idea what to do with them.
And I don't get that. I really don't understand how you had no idea, because you had so much there and you let it go. I mean, the first downfall was obviously the whole contracts. You had gold there, you had money, and then you let it go. It just don't put them on one brand. They don't belong to any brand. They don't belong to WWE. Let Vince, more or less, Triple H come out there and confront them. Talk or fight. Make it look like they're action baiting.
Yeah, and this is kind of